Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Joey Dotson. This is the Daddy podcast, and I am here with Jova Thomaz from New Age Beauty Bar. How's it going, Jova?
Oh, hi. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for hosting me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know it was I gave you a short notice, but you're able to hop on, so I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'm home today and I love, to just kind of get to know each other a little bit more.
Yeah, and so where are you? You're in Utah?
Yeah, so I am in Harriman, but my studio is in Orem.
In Orem, okay. How far of a drive is that for you?
About 30 minutes. Not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. And where did you grow up, Jova? Because I don't think you grew up in Utah.
Right. I'm from Nicaragua and I came here. I migrated when I was about 14. And we came here to this like cold weather. We came actually in February, and we've never seen snow. And we loved it here. I've moved to other states, but I've always come back here because I have family. But this is like my home now. I'm like 40 years old. So, from 14 to 40, I've made my life here.
Yeah, you've lived most. And by the way, she does not look 40 years old, people. If you're watching this,
Oh,
she
thank
looks
you.
great.
Oh, thank you.
So, what was it like growing up in Nicaragua?
I have so many good memories. I was always playing outside. I have three brothers. I'm the only sister. The only girl. And so it was very wild. My brothers they love to be outside. So I wanted to be just like them. So I was always outside and very safe, very humble home. Never in a million years would have thought that I would have my own business, and that I could provide a little bit to send money because I still have family in Nicaragua. So it's just such a blessing for me. Have my own business so that I can still help back at home.
Oh, that's awesome that you're able to give, family members and friends out from where you came from, give them some money to help them out. Because I know the economy's not, you know, even in the United States isn't doing very well. So I can imagine,
Right.
down there it's probably a little more difficult. So you being the only girl, three brothers, did you fight a lot or how'd they treat you?
Oh my gosh. So again, okay, so I learned how to box.
Oh.
I used to box with my brothers and they were not holding back. And it was really hard for me to be girly. I remember being like 12 and my aunties were like, oh my gosh, you need to like put a little bit of, blush and start looking like a girl. Because I was just with my brothers and my hair was always messy. And it was really hard because I walked so fast. My brothers are tall and I'm little. And if I didn't keep up with them, they would leave me. And so I learned to walk like a man. And so after around 13, 14, when I came here, that's when I started to be a little bit more feminine. But I was just like town girl, like always like breaking stuff and didn't care about my hair. So I have like fun memories.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think it toughens you up a little bit too, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
you
Oh,
could
it's
probably hold your own a little bit better than the average girl who didn't have three brothers.
yeah. They would like burn my dolls. They would make me cry every day. They were horrible. They were bad, but it's made me like have a thick skin. And so when things happen now in life, I just kind of remember, and I'm like, okay, just get your big panties on and let's get going.
I love that attitude. So what was it like coming over here? Did you speak English?
I know. So when I grew up, like, in my little like city, there were a couple of schools that would teach English, but the English they taught you is so different in here. So like water is not like water. Is the actual, pronunciation is so off. So when I came here, I only knew the basics. I only knew like restroom and just a little fraction of things. And then we were just thrown into like middle school. I was in middle school, and my brothers started in high school. We didn't know nothing. And we just kind of learned every day at class. Teachers would be just like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. Okay. I had no idea what they were saying, Joey.
Did they put you in a special like a special English is my second language classes at all, or?
Yeah, so we would do that because it was like a day and B day. So I had that, I think, like 3 days a week.
Okay.
But that was it. And then the rest were normal classes. And I would sit really close and just try to figure out what the teacher was saying. And there were so many like really nice people that were trying to welcome me, you know, and I just turn around like, no speak English. No, like, no speak English. And then I like started slowly learning, you know, but then the accent, right? This accent was heavy. So I had to practice like the numbers, you know, like 30. I'm like 30. Oh, I'm like, no, I'm saying it wrong. And then just some words like, you know, the potty, the bathroom. I'm like, you want to go party? And they're like, okay. So it was fun. It was so like unique.
How long? That's crazy that you were sitting in class. You have no idea what the teacher's saying. You're just kind of staring like, I picked up that word. Oh, I know that what that means. Papel or paper, right? You would hear like that's what I would hear. Lapis.
Oh yeah.
How long would you say it took you? Were you eventually when you got to high school? Were you a lot better in English?
Yeah. So I think within a year, so within 6 months, I understood, but I wasn't speaking yet. And then a year I was speaking. And then like through high school, we got, you know, obviously you get harder classes and then it kind of started all over again because I'm like, oh no, I don't understand. But I think by like my 10th grade, it was a little bit more comfortable, but I was very shy. I remember this little white boy following me and he would take classes that I took and then he would try to talk to me. I had no idea what he was saying. I couldn't even say his name.
Like he had a crush on you?
Yeah, I think he had a crush on me. And he literally took every class until like my senior year. And I think he asked me out, but I couldn't. I don't know what he was saying. But I feel so bad to this day thinking about like this little white boy. He even took salsa dancing classes after school.
That's so funny.
My high school had that program. And then he would dance. And I'm like, he's stalking me. But I had no idea. I was oblivious.
He just wanted to be around Jova.
Yeah. I couldn't say his name. And his name was Corey. And I couldn't say Corey.
What was the accent like? So what was it the R's that were hard to say?
Yeah, because you know, we say it so strong. And I was like, Corey. And I imagine simple name Corey. I couldn't say it. It took me forever to. And once I realized how to say it, the kid lost interest.
Oh.
Because it took me too long.
And what is your full name? Because your full name is not Jova, right? So what is it?
So my full name is Giovanoli. And people call me Jova because it's shorter. It's kind of mixture of like Giovanna or Giovanni, you know, but a little bit longer. So my mom just kind of liked Italian names, although we're not even Italian whatsoever. So she's like, I'll just name you Giovanni, you know, but I just go, it's quicker, shorter, you know, Jova.
Did you get that nickname Jova when you were still down there or in US?
No, since I was little.
Oh, since you're a little kid? Okay.
Yeah, since I was little. But the difference here is that it's spelled like in Spanish, Jova, it's with a Y. You know?
Okay.
And here, I have to put it with a J, but then the Spanish speaking ladies come to me, like, you know, and they do their eyebrows and they're like, Jova, Jovita. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, they just murder my name.
Well, that's because that's what you think, right? I went to school with this kid. It's spelled Jamie, but he's pronounced Jame. He would always get pissed off. It's Jame, it's Jame.
Right. And I was just like, I feel so old when my Hispanic clients like, oh, Jovita. And I'm just like, oh God, no.
So you come to US, you're what, 13, 14?
Mm-hmm.
You make it through high school. What do you end up doing after high school?
When I was in high school, I decided to, like, 2 years before, like around 10th grade, somewhere in there, I had good grades somehow. I don't know how, but they decided to offer me a program where they take you to like your local community college. And because I was going to finish early, and they asked me to, try a couple of things. And so I did a graphic design. And then halfway through that program, it was so boring. So I was like, I'm falling asleep. I love the idea of designing, but it was kind of boring. And then I would sit, the bus would take me from high school to this, place. And then across the street from this, class, there was cosmetology school. And I seen the girls come in and they looked so pretty. And I always thought, oh, I need to be more feminine, So I decided to switch and try that other program for cosmetology. So I did cosmetology in high school. And that was so fun because that's kind of where I learned a little bit more about myself and what I liked. And then after high school, when, I couldn't finish the program because my mom moved to Florida. So I had to go with her to Florida, and they didn't have that program there. So I just kind of lived in limbo for like a year in Florida. And I think I was about 18. And then I decided to move back to Utah by myself. And, my mom had her life there. So I decided to come here. And I just kind of got like a regular job. I couldn't go to college because I still hadn't finalized my immigration status. And I inquired, and they're like, yeah, it's going to cost like $5,000 to this much. And, there's not a lot of resource if you're not 100% like with a visa,
You mean tuition assistance and student loans and stuff?
I could not apply to any of these because my immigration was taking a really long time. Usually it takes like 5 years or so. So you're kind of pending. You're in there. I can't go back. I can't go to school. And then they gave me a work permit, and that helped. But you're kind of like in limbo until they decide to approve your application or not. But I did the best. I've learned. I went to worked at a couple of doctor's office, and I've learned to be like an optician. So, the person that helps you with glasses.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I loved it, and I gave it my all there,
How long were you in the optician field?
I did that for, I want to say like 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It was such I had a passion for it because, I've always loved helping people. I've had this like customer service, and where I worked at the U, and they had a couple of like a satellite clinics. So there was a lot of room for me to grow, and I've learned so much, and they knew I was bilingual. So they really like treasure me, So I did that for a really long time until obviously it became kind of like I had no passion or spark as much for it. That's when I decided to kind of venture my own way.
Okay. So you're doing the eyes. That's interesting. I mean, 15 years doing that. You're doing the glasses, you're working as an optician, in that realm of everything. What kind of triggered you into getting into PMU?
There were a lot of factors. Usually I give my all when I get into, whatever it is that I'm doing. And I was having so much fun there, and I've been so loyal to this company. But with time, it was really hard to have the flexibility that I have now. I have 4 kids, right? So it was hard for my kids, and my schedule to kind of like go on vacation, or they were sick. And then like my older daughter has autism, and with her, she required a lot of like therapy. They do a lot of social skills. So it was really hard for me to kind of ask for time off, and the company was so nice and they were so grateful, but there are sometimes they have to say no, and so that kind of got me thinking like I need to do something about something that I love, that I can still make an income and then also able to have that freedom. And so when I finally got my eyebrows done, like that kind of like ignited this fire in me. Like, I need to do something. I love it. Hey, this wasn't so complicated. Like when she was doing my eyebrows, I saw myself doing that. And I just like fell in love how it made me feel like pretty and confident. And that's something I've always struggled because, you know, I have my brothers and I've never felt like feminine. And so when I got my eyebrows done, I just felt different. And I was like, I could do that. And I can also help other women like me have that confidence. And I get paid for this. I was like,
That's part.
The best part, I get paid for this. But I never thought that I would like venture and have my own place or, you know, because I've never been that type of person. I just went with it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And that all makes sense. But I want to back up. So I do want to talk about, you have 4 kids, right?
Right.
4 kids. And how long you been with your husband?
So my husband, I think we are going to celebrate 16 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. I hope I make it that long.
Yeah. Oh, it's a journey. It's fun. I mean, there are moments, obviously, where I just want to, like, the Latina in me wants to like choke him. But then I remember how much love this man has for me and supports me. Anything I do, he never questions. He just like, you know what, if you in your heart you feel like this is what you need to do, he's on board. And the days that I doubt myself, you know, because you know you do as a business owner, and he looks at me and say, look how far you've come, and give yourself grace and see tomorrow. And then that kind of makes me refocus again. Like, you're right, you know.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a very supportive husband. And so what are your kids' ages?
Yeah, so my older boy, he is 19. He'll be 20 this year. My girl is going to be 20. So he's my stepson. And then, you know, when I met my husband, he had 1 kid and I had my daughter.
Okay.
And then we had 2, like the 14-year-old and the 12-year-old.
Okay.
And it also happened the same, 3 boys, 1 girl.
That is odd. I mean, just like you grew up.
Yeah.
So what's it like being a business owner and being a mom? I know your days got to be hectic.
It is. You know, I have found balance the last, I'd say like year. I have found more balance in life. But before that, I was trying to do more than I could, you know, because in the mornings, I take the kids to school. I come home, I get ready. Then I try to go to the gym, and then I go to work and come back home. I make dinner, and then I take everyone. I mean, seriously, my kids have things to do. So I have to be the Uber. So it was hard last year, the year before that, because I was trying so hard to work on my business, like maybe 6 days, 7 days a week. And so then I learned to kind of like, no, I need to have a balance. So that's why I have Mondays off. And then I'm only working like maybe twice on Saturdays. I try not to work Saturdays so I can spend time with my family and not feel guilty, because that's the hard part. You're home and I feel like I should be out there looking for a client and doing their eyebrows, you know? Yeah. But I remind myself, this is the time that I can like be present for my kids and, you know, for my support, because they are my support, you know?
Yeah, no, it's very important to reiterate that, and for people listening to know that when you are with your family, try to be with your family. I know you'll sit there, ideas are coming up, marketing ideas, or, oh, did I text that person back? Or I got to call this lead, or I got to change something on the website. Like all these different things pop in your mind all the time. But it's like, it's important to kind of put the phone down and be present with your kids, because they're only going to be kids for so long.
Yeah, look, they are so big. I have pictures of them on that other wall where they were like 6 years ago and 4 years ago. And now my oldest has a whole full-on beard. You know? I was looking at him. He looks like a grown man, you know, and before my eyes, just like that. So I have to remind myself, even when my clients text me on Mondays, just like, that's my day off. I will get back to the office on Tuesday, you know?
Yeah.
So we carry that with us. And then it was stressful because a couple of years ago I would do that. And then I could see their faces. I could see my husband's face, kind of like, I know you're working, but you're home, you know, like they're looking at you. They're giving you that dirty look, like, shoot, put the phone down. So now they don't have to tell me that. I just do it, you know?
I'm glad you realized it. You know, not we don't all realize it as soon as others, but that's
Right?
good. So you get your eyebrows done. When do you decide, hey, I want to go learn this?
You know, I think it took me 3 months.
Really?
3
Okay.
months. Yeah. So I got them done. And then, you know, like I got my touch up, which was like 8 weeks later. It's because I wanted really to see, like, do I believe in this product, right? I'm not going to change my whole life. You know, I have this career that I had for all these years that paid me pretty well. And they were flexible somehow. And then I just wanted to make sure, like, okay, if I get my eyebrows done and then, you know, the healing process, and then 6 weeks later, are they still there, right? And because of my own personal experience, and I seen how, like, it did impact me, and they did work, you know, I decided to investigate. I went on Google, I went on like all the social media, and then found like 3 schools that I really loved. And I decided to just like stop at their place, like unannounced, you know?
Just popped in, just like, I'm just going to show up, even
Yeah.
and knowing now that everything's usually appointment only.
Yeah. So I figure, like, if they're there, if they say their business hours and they're open, I could see how they run business. If it's worth my money and my time in this school, like that, I'm going to dedicate, you know, the little money I have so I can change my whole life, you know? So I did that. And it was really interesting to see, like, because what you see in social media and when you meet the actual person was completely different. So I'm glad I did show up, like, I'm here. Because it changed my mind. I was going to go with like different artists. And then when I show up and, you know, the way that she was behaving and the way that her clients, it just kind of gave me a little off vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, okay, I got to do more homework.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad. That's a smart idea, you know, pop in there, really see what it's about. Because you're right. Some people definitely put on a bit of a show on
Yeah.
Instagram versus how they really are, where
Yeah.
their personality is completely different.
Right.
So when you came to see me, how off was I from Instagram?
Oh, you're the same. I feel like I knew you already, you know?
And for those of you who don't know, I actually met Jova in person in the Scalp show in about 2 years ago at the Scalp show. And then she flew out, her and Floor flew out to Delaware, well, to Philadelphia, and came to my shop here in Delaware and trained in SMP. And then she also did some microblading here. And we had a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
We had a lot of fun.
You know what? Laura and I talk about this every day, how we're going to go back. Like,
yeah, it was a lot of
because it was such a great, like, you have so much knowledge to share, you know, from all your years of experience, and just being there and your whole team, it just makes you want to learn more, you know?
Yeah, and you girls did great. I mean, you were definitely, I'd say, my best first students, like first doing SMP on a head. You know, I wasn't paranoid, like stalking over top of you, scared you were going to jack their head up.
Right.
Really
Well, thank you.
And we'll go back to your training because I definitely want to highlight and recommend Jova and Floor for training because they're very, very good at what they do. They're very detailed, and I highly. Anyway, I'll just say it now. Anybody in Utah or anybody in that area, definitely go see Jova and Floor for microblading, PMU, all of it. They know their shit. They got it down.
Thank you.
And they're great to hang out with. They're fun.
Thank you.
You know, Jova's not secretly a bitch behind the camera. At least not that I saw.
I know, right? It shouldn't be the same as we every day. And I try when I do videos to have like the same face, like no filters. I hate like catfishing,
Yeah.
I want same every day. So people are like, oh yeah, I've seen you before. Instead of when they meet you, oh,
Yeah.
you look different.
Yeah. Who is that person? No, I know exactly, because there's a lot of that now, the
Right. And it's a little disappointing.
So you train. Where do you start doing it? You start doing it out of your house?
No, I was very lucky that the facility I chose in Salt Lake had, I think they had 3 beds, additional beds you could rent daily. And so I decided to go there when I had clients. So I took a training. It was supposed to be one-on-one. But you know how it is. Sometimes things change and I wasn't notified. Okay. I get there and I'm thinking it's just going to be me because I paid for private training. But I get there and there's 4 other women there.
Ooh.
But it was okay. I thought, you know what? I'm going to make the best of it. Right. And so I get there, I meet the instructor and we're going over things. It's just like 4 or 5 days. And after 5 days, that's it. You're on your own and the facility is open. You can come and do the eyebrows. There's not a lot of supervision. So I was a little scared. I was like, oh my gosh, after 5 days, I could just slice somebody's face, But I felt confident in a way that I said, okay, if I go small and then I do all these little things to prevent mistakes, right? I could do really well. So I decided to rent just a couple times and I posted on Facebook, on, like the yard sales groups. And I posted, I'm doing eyebrows, $100. And I thought, oh, nobody's going to respond. But people did. I had 7 clients my first week.
Wow, that's a genius marketing tactic, going on the yard sales
Mm-hmm.
and doing it. Because I tried doing it on the local groups here, and my comment always gets deleted. It's
Well, this was 7 years ago where there was not that much.
They have crackdown.
The regulations were like not there. So I posted it, and then my pictures. My first model was my mom, my mom and my mother-in-law. Okay, and so they're all their clients, and the pictures I posted are like their face is not the best angle because they're more mature skin and they need to be like in different positions. But I had no idea.
Yeah,
but it worked. I got clients, and obviously it was only $100.
But you got those pictures and you got the practice.
And I put my training on like this credit card that I had, and I was able to pay that off within like 3 months, And I was just doing it part-time because I had not quit my optician job. So I was just doing eyebrows like a couple times a week and then still going to the eye doctor for a few months. I did that for a few months.
And I'm sorry, Jova, so where did you say you were doing the eyebrows at?
Yeah, the academy that I took training.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had a space. They had a space there. I could never do it at my house because my kids are too loud. They would probably scare all my clients, and I would never do nothing.
And you probably don't really want to have strangers come to your house anyway, right?
I just feel weird. I wouldn't mind about them. It's just my kids are just horrible. Even my dog. I don't know. He's not here, but there's just loud people.
Just walk by you doing it, be like, that looks like shit.
Then they come through the door. Imagine. No, it's okay. So I did that until I had enough clients. Then I rented my own little suite. Like I think it took me 6 months to have my own suite, and that's when I quit my other job after 6 months.
And that's rough. I mean, it's scary, right? Quitting a job that you've been doing for almost 15 years or whatever to then doing this new thing. You kind of just, maybe a year you've been doing it, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. So what did you think during that? I was scared, but I felt like I had a lot of support from the new clients I was getting, and I realized how much freedom I had because I was saying no to some of my clients because I was working my regular job. And then by the time I added everything, I made more money doing eyebrows in one day,
than if I work 4 days straight,
Isn't that great?
Yeah. And so I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to say no. And I'm like, money is leaving me, money's coming. I have to receive it,
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have to. And when I found this little like yoga studio that they were just building it brand new. And then I met the owner, and the owner said, if you're interested, I can build a little suite and I'll put a sink and all of these things. And I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And it was so close to home, and it wasn't that expensive either. So I decided, hey, if anything goes wrong though, I can always go back to my job.
Yeah. Yep.
Like there's no risk, like there's no reward if you don't go for it, So I have to know what I'm made out of, like how far I can go, So I decided I already wasted all my time, 15 years, once a year I could try to 2 years, So I did give myself 2 years to like give it my all. And I'm so glad I did that.
And when you're in this, so it's a little studio in the back of a yoga place. Is that what they did? And
Yeah.
would you just pay rent, or would you pay like per customer? You give her a percentage? How'd that go?
It was monthly. So I was
Okay.
paying like, I think here in Utah, like I think $450 is very like.
That's not bad. That's actually super cheap. That's a good deal for especially when you first start. And that's really good deal.
Yeah. And it was new, like new flooring, a new building. It just didn't have windows. So it felt like I was doing eyebrows for 5 days because you don't see the light. There's no window. So I couldn't see if it's day, night, or evening. But I thought for my first studio, it was perfect.
Yeah. So how long did you end up staying there?
I stayed there for 6 months.
6 months. And then what?
And then so when I took my training, I've met this other girl that also took the training with me. And we decided, let's like get together and let's both of us rent a place, right? Because if I'm paying $500 and she's paying $500, then we can get double the space, right? Why not? So we decided to rent a building together. So I found like a business partner, you call.
Yeah. And
I did that for a year. And it was fun. I've learned so much from that experience. I've learned like what to do, what not to do, business partners. A partnership is hard.
It's very hard. It's very scary. It's very, you get backstabbed or you could be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. You can also pass knowledge. It can also be beneficial, but a lot of times, especially in this type of industry, it's difficult. I've heard from multiple people.
Yeah. And what my husband reminded me of, like, because it started all great, but unfortunately, like, I think within 3 or 4 months of the partnership, I was involved in a car accident, and it was a really bad one. So my health wasn't the best. So I had like a lot of, my health is still, a little compromised, but I couldn't work for like 3 months. But I was still going to the studio, and I was still doing like videos. I was helping, and, as much as I could and contributing, but I think that made tension. It was hard for us. And so at the end, my husband just said, just cut your loss and move on, because you get frustrated and you get angry. And then he's like, no, just take this as a learning experience, cut your losses, and just start over, And I thought, okay, great way to think about that, instead of me like dwelling and, on this like misery that I put myself in, And I don't blame anyone. I don't blame her, because I'm pretty sure I've grown so much from it,
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what happened in the car accident?
So I was leaving work, right? And this was a late night because we used to put a lot of hours. It was 9:30 p.m. and I was leaving, and in a light, it just changed really quickly, and somebody started, like a pedestrian just walked by, So I stopped, but the guy before me was coming really fast and he didn't see me, but I stopped. So he hit me. He was going like 45, I think, and he just rammed into me, and then I hit another car. And I had a little car, like, you know, the Honda little hatchback, you know?
Yeah.
Those are like disposable cars. So literally my car was like this. I was squished.
Damn.
It was squished. So airbags, the car got total, you know? So it was really hard because it messed up my back and my neck. So working as an artist, you're doing this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Awkward positioning all the time.
It took me quite some time, like a lot of physical therapy and like doctor's appointments to kind of get back to some sort of normal, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So do you have any long-term effects from that?
Yeah. So like just recently, I think like a month ago or somewhere in there, like my back started acting up. I have pain every day. So I have chronic back pain because I have like herniated disc on
Damn.
my neck, my back. And then because of that, the disc started to deteriorate, kind of like arthritis. It's weird, the impact. And so I go maybe once every 2 years to get injections on like the spine to the back.
Okay.
And that helps. So the pain is not like too unbearable, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like taking stuff. I hate taking medicine and I do yoga to stretch, but man, every now and then it just like comes like hard. So I have
Herniated disc is no joke. I mean, people, if you've never had a herniated disc, that is very, very painful to deal with.
right. And standing is the worst. Like for me, standing for more than 10 minutes, I have to sit down.
And you don't want to be stuck on Percocet or oxycodone because it just won't end well. It won't end well.
Right.
That's smart that you're getting the injections and trying some other things. I mean, you don't want to be on that.
It's helped. It's helped a lot.
So you learned your lesson with your partner. I hope things are amicable. I mean, do you hate each other right now? Are you cool? You just don't.
You know what? I wish her well. I don't have her on my social media. I think she blocks me. But you know what? I don't like, I know I've made mistakes. I'm pretty sure like, you know, we're mature enough. If I see her anywhere, I've never seen her, by the way, like after just separated, like I would say hi. I don't hold any grudges or anything in my heart because, you know, you do what you think is best for your business and then you learn, you know, there's so much to go around and I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, you know, and we can all change. So I hope one day maybe she'll unblock me. We'll see.
Well, that's a good optimistic way to look at it, and I'm glad you're like that and you're not holding a grudge because it's only hurts the person. Whoever's holding the grudge, it's like holding the hot coal. You're only hurting yourself, right? Just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, move on. So you break off from her. Where do you end up moving? Is that the studio you're at now, or?
No. So after when that happened, COVID hit.
Okay.
And
so that was all pre-COVID.
You know what? It was great timing because like this happened and then the health department, you know, at COVID time, they're like, you have to shut down, right? So I talked to the landlord and obviously we had no more lease. It had ended and I was like, okay, so I just take my things and then I brought everything to my garage. I had like a bunch of beds and mirrors and I waited until the health department said, you know, to open. And that took a while. And on the meantime, I was blessed that the doctor that I used to work for, the eye doctor, he called and he said, hey, I know you're at home. Do you want to come and work? And, you know, like maybe 1 or 2 days a week, because, you know, they're doctors, they can go back to work a lot quicker. And I said, sure. So I did. I went back to my regular old job and to save a little bit of money until the health department said, okay, you can open. And when they decided it was time to open, I had found like a smaller studio in Salt Lake. And so that gave me time to save a little bit and found a place where I stayed there. I think I was there for 2 years. And I kind of outgrew it. It was a little too small. And then I moved to Orem.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's cool that you have maintained a strong, positive, healthy relationship with the doctor that you work for, that they bring you back on. Because I was going to say, how were you making money if you, put all that stuff,
Right.
shut it down?
Oh, if I call them today and they're like, come back.
They still love you?
They love me, but I'm like, I go back. And so it was hard. I went back for, I think I told them 6 weeks, right? And it was so hard because when I got there, I wasn't used to anymore working a 9 to 5. So I got 9, and then 3 customers come in, and then I looked, and it only been 9:15. Oh my gosh, you're gonna do this until 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, because I'm so used to now having 1 to 3 clients a day, right? Because it takes me 2 or 3 hours. So it just felt really long.
And you can make the same amount of money, in a much shorter amount of time.
When I worked all those hours, and then finally 15 days later, I get a paycheck, and I'm like, wait, but I work some more.
So then after that happens, you moved into the next location, and then you were there for how long?
2 years. I was there 2 years.
Okay. And then
it was beautiful. It was just like a little bit too small. In Salt Lake City, it was just like a lot of people were coming and going, and the place was like maybe 600 square feet. So it was like a little, it was small, and it just felt like we were tight because I was teaching, and you would go in the hall, and it's just kind of felt like, neck to neck.
A little cramped, yeah.
Yes.
Well, the new place you have, I've seen plenty. I haven't seen it in person. Hopefully, I will one day. But it looks a lot bigger, nice and clean. Everything looks really good.
Oh, I love it. I just wish it's still a commute for me. My goal one day is to be closer to home.
Just living
I
it.
love my place, but it's just like when I come back home, it's about an hour. Like, it's rush hour. So my goal is to be closer to home, at least within 12 minutes from home,
Do you think you'd be more likely to move your place you're living or move your studio close to your home?
My studio,
Okay.
because all my family lives north, and my salon is on the other side. So it just make it even harder,
Okay.
But it's just like, I think wherever I'm at, it's going to be beautiful because I think I put the work in it, We make the home, we make the studio, and I love how I made that place so pretty. I just wish I could move my whole family or, over there.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's a lot of work, having to shut down one place and bring all the stuff over and then repaint, redo everything. It's exhausting.
Oh, it's a lot. My husband just looks at me and he's like, do you realize the floors and this, I have a list of things that I love to upgrade, and obviously I don't know how to do any of that. So I need him for that.
You've learned some stuff, right?
I've made holes in the wall. I've drilled one time. One of my clients came in like 40 minutes before her appointment, and I literally had a little hard hat, and then I was on top with a little drill, and then put this cute little, because I did with the level, and I was very proud of myself. I've learned so much construction.
It didn't fall?
No, it stayed there, and I'm so surprised. I was doing that with high heels, and I was like, oh my gosh.
So getting into the PMU industry, I like that because you do microblading, and what else do you do? Can you name all your services?
Yeah, so I started with eyebrows, and then I've learned lips, like the lip blush procedure, and then I've learned eyeliner, and I do teeth whitening. I've learned removals. A lot of clients that come from previous artists, sometimes their eyebrows are like too thick, or too blue or bald, like weird. So removal is a must. You must know how to remove so that we can put more like beautiful, more natural. And then I also do SMP, which I learned from you.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else do I do?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I do quite a few, which keeps me pretty busy, you know?
Yeah. I like one of the things I like, and Jova was actually her own guinea pig and did lip blush on her own lips.
Yeah.
And she did it like 2 weeks before you came here. And and you recorded yourself
Yeah.
kind of doing something. I was like, holy shit, this girl's got some
That
balls.
was my best video, okay? I just went for it because I was like, why am I gonna go somewhere? I have the pigment, I know my technique so well, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, I'll just like do this thing. I'll figure out as I go. Because I figured this part is easy. I would not do my own eyebrow because I'd be like, how?
You can't do it. You can't do the eyebrows. But I think the lips, they're at least doable. At least stretch it out a little bit. Everything you got to kind of do.
Yeah, so I do my own, I did my lips and then I do my own teeth whitening, you know?
And is that with one of those things you stick in there?
Yeah, so you know, like you put that little speculum thing on your mouth, like, you know, and then it has that laser, like UV light one. So it's pretty good and it's not sensitive. Is
that an added service or do you do that while you're microblading someone?
I've done it in the past,
like
simultaneously. If my client, you know, wants to do it all together. Yeah, because you just put it and there's a light and you could still, like, you know, do your things. Oh, I've done 2 clients at the same time on eyebrows, everything, you name it. I'm like somehow clone myself.
What, going from one bed to the next?
Yeah, yes. Oh yeah, I have already preset my things. I have like multiple machines because you have to have multiple.
Yeah.
And then I just, while one is numbing, I'll go and do the design on the other one. And then I'll go, you know, go back and forth. And then I could do a teeth whitening. So it's just like, before I know it, my day's over. But I've made pretty good money. And everyone that leaves feels so much better about themselves, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, watching you work and do everything that you did, you know, I saw you you map it out, and that to me was one of the most fascinating things because that is such a tedious process. Anybody listening to this, the mapping on eyebrows, I mean, you got to try and make them perfect. You know, you want the shape and everything symmetrical. I mean, what was the hardest thing for you to learn? You know, was it the mapping?
Yeah, it was the mapping. So when I started, I hated it. Joey, anytime I got to the salon, I would park and I'm like, okay, breathe. You got this. You know, I just had the butterflies on my stomach and I would sit in the car and like psych myself up, like, okay, you could do it. You got this. And then I just remember doing the mapping and then my client would sit up and it would be like that. Because I, you know, new and this is just mapping. I hadn't started. I'm like, I can't. I have to like start over. So I clean their eyebrows, do it again until it's perfect. It would take me like an hour. And I remember one time I was so frustrated with myself, you know, because it was not working out. And I was like, okay, I have to like brainwash myself and say, I love it. I love this. I love this because I love the process. I just hated the mapping. And so I said that for a whole entire week. I love mapping. I love mapping. And now,
I love mapping.
And yeah, and now that's my favorite. You have no idea. I like love it with a passion. I went from like hating it to now it's so artistic to me. And it just means so much more because this person that comes in, you know, we're all asymmetrical and it's proven that we are attractive and we like people that are more symmetrical, you know? So
you mean you don't want someone with a deformed face?
Yeah, like you can, you don't like me. I had a client that had a brain surgery because she had like a tumor, right? And so this part of her bone was in. And she looks so beautiful. Like when we finished, she's never in her life, you know, she had the surgery when she was like 19. had ever had symmetrical eyebrow, ever.
Wow.
And so it was so rewarding that I made that happen with like the hollow area. I don't know how, God help me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was just so in love with that I was like, okay, this is my calling.
That's got to be so rewarding, and you feel so good to make her happy, especially beating brain cancer. I mean,
Oh yeah. I did her SMP
Oh,
because
you did?
I did her SMP afterwards because
Oh,
after I did your training,
yeah.
so I've done her eyebrows, her eyeliner, and her lips, right? And then when she, came to me, she confided that after her surgery, because she has bangs,
Uh-huh.
but there's a part over here and in the middle where they did the surgery that
Mhm.
it had a big scar, but I've never really noticed it because I'm always working here, And she asked me, like, do you think you could blend that in? I was like, oh, absolutely. And so it was so rewarding to actually be able to, like, it was like a quarter. Oh my gosh. And it was just like gone. It was gone.
Uh, that's awesome. I'm sure that's one of your most memorable moments, right? I mean, helping someone with brain cancer is.
Yeah.
I've done a few too, and it's because you're like, damn, you've been through so much
Yeah.
shit, and
Mhm.
now you're finally here. And I'm gonna try and do the best we can to make it look a lot better.
Yeah.
It's probably a little more rewarding than picking out new glasses, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. And
Yeah.
the client has, I'm so blessed that all these, like my clients have been with me since the beginning. Like this client came to me when I was in the little studio like 7 years ago, and every year or every 18 months or whatever, they call me and they're like, wherever you are, I'm coming, you know?
Yeah.
This Saturday, I did the mom and daughter that I remember they came all the way to that little studio I used to rent after I got certified,
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, feels so good that they're willing to go wherever because they trust me and they trusted me for all of these years, even when I started,
Yeah, that's brand loyalty. That's good. You built a good relationship. So you did a mother-daughter combo?
Yeah, so they came on Saturday, and I had done them previously, like 2 years ago in Salt Lake, and before that, 7 years ago, like farther. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh yes,
Hey, they're gonna go to their girl, man. They're loyal. I love that. That means they like you.
yeah. I'm like,
Well, how can you not like Jova? I mean, she's so happy. I mean, people, you watching this, listen, she is very bubbly in person, very happy. I haven't seen you be negative at all, Jova. I haven't seen you
ow,
be
believe me,
negative.
as my kids, that's where all the negativity. And as my husband, he'd be like, okay, I thought you said she was in a good mood.
What advice do you have up and coming PMU artists trying to get into the industry? Like, what's the hardest part? What do you wish you kind of focused on earlier?
Yeah. So what I would give advice is to just go for it. Don't think too much because sometimes we put our own limitations. We set our own growth, and we're determined. You can definitely reach your goal. It's an idea, no matter how small this idea is. It's in your brain for a reason, and you should try it out because you already wasted last year, the year before, and it's like no one's coming to save you. You are the only person that can save you and do your own progress, and if it doesn't work out, you can always go back. I always say, hey, if you were a great employee, people will take you back later, but have that mentality of trying something new. And when you do something new, go really ham at it, like 100%, and give it you all and talk about your business. New artists, they're afraid because they're like, oh, I don't have a portfolio. I don't have a lot of clients. And I said, well, you have to talk about your business. Your business will not exist if you don't let people know about it. They can say no. So when I meet people, I make a point to tell them what I do for a living and invite them for a consultation. You know, it's free, complimentary, and I don't lose anything, but I could gain so much, you know? And within 20 minutes, I could have a consultation and then they can book and then like $500-$600, you know?
Bam,
But
bam.
it doesn't hurt to ask.
Hey, I agree. Bring it up. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Once you become business owner, it's a never ending thing.
Yeah. And if I don't, obviously you do get burned out, and obviously you do have to remind your why sometimes. And it's just kind of like, okay, do I want to go back again? No, I like where I'm at. I like that freedom. We're going on vacation to Mexico the end of the month, you know, and I can take off, and then we're going after to Brazil, like in, I think August or something like that again, you know? So like, I love that. I don't have to ask anybody permission, you know?
Yeah, you just block out those days. I'm not available those days.
Yeah.
You don't even really need to tell them why. You can just be like, I'm not available.
Yeah.
So you're, well, since you said that, you're going to Brazil?
Yeah.
What are you doing down there?
One of my nieces is getting married over there.
Okay.
And so we're going to go, just the husband and I. This trip to Mexico is the kids, all of us. And then we try to go once a year, him and I, somewhere by ourselves, you know?
Good. You should. What part of Mexico are you going to?
We're going to Cancun and then like Playa del Carmen, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I've been there.
It will be so nice. I love Mexico. You are there so fast. And then they give you a margarita. You know what? I could fly at 6 and then get there by noon.
Yeah.
And I got my margarita and my feet on the sand.
Yeah.
Best.
All inclusive is the way to go.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Keep bringing it.
Yeah. And your kids can just kind of wander around the resort.
Yeah. You know, they have the non-alcoholic margarita. So they come with me to the bar and they ask for their drink. So we're both sipping, you know, at the pool.
Yeah.
I'm more relaxed than they are.
Will you let the 19-year-old drink now?
You know, she asked me and I said, you could have one.
I think it's only 18 in Mexico, right?
Mexico. And
like, is that true? The drinking age is 18?
Yeah. Both of my 2 older ones. I said, okay, hey, I'll let you try some alcohol.
A little sample.
Just a little sample. Just don't get drunk. You know, just like, you know, that's it. Because we're not.
Don't do anything stupid.
I think if they see that I have a healthy relationship with alcohol, you know, the more forbidden, the more like, oh, I have to try it, you know. But if you're open, I think they're more likely to see that there is a healthy relationship with that, you know?
Yeah. And you can just drink and have fun and converse and talk. You know, it is fun. Just don't abuse it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's exciting that you're going to Mexico and you get to go. What part of Brazil?
I believe São Paulo.
Oh, wow.
We've been to Rio before, and it was really, really fun.
It looks intense.
It's intense. Yeah, we went to the exclusive nightclub, Joey. Oh, like, beautiful nightclub. And while we were there, somebody was shooting.
Ah!
Yeah, we didn't know until we heard the gunshot right in front of us. They were like, what the heck? Hey, it was an experience and we lived. So, like, hey, now we've been to Rio. Maybe we shouldn't go in this club anymore.
At least you speak Spanish. You got that going for you.
Yeah, so they speak Portuguese, and I've learned Portuguese with my husband. So I'm very fluent. And after like a drink, my accent is gone. Okay.
But I mean, the Portuguese and the Spanish, I mean, it's very similar,
They're
right?
very similar. Yeah, they're very similar.
That's very exciting. I hope it all goes smooth, by the way. I'll take pictures when you do that. You know, in the PMU industry, there's a lot more PMU artists than there are like SMP artists. So has it gotten more competitive for you in your 7-year journey doing this? Like, is it harder to get in clients now? Obviously, the economy is not the best right now, but do you see it just growing where you have more opportunity?
I think I do see a lot of, it is very competitive. Like 7 years ago was a lot easier to get clients to come in. There wasn't a lot of artists. It's like when you get your nails done, like one nail salon will pop and then another one in like every other corner. So I think the possibilities are out there. It's just how you market yourself.
Mhm.
I try not to look at my competitors and see what they're doing. I care for what I'm doing, how I can make the client choose me versus them, because my
I love
energy is
that.
focused on me, my growth. Just because they're charging 500 or whatever, I don't even look. I just charge what I think I'm worth. And the opportunity is there. There are clients. We know so many people, but obviously it gets tighter and tighter. We just have to be more creative on bringing people in. And at the end of the day, if they didn't choose me, the client or the student, and they chose somebody else, I say it wasn't for me. It wasn't meant for me.
Well, there'll be more coming anyway, right?
I think maybe that client would have been too difficult. And the Lord said, I will bless you. No, you don't need that kind.
Yeah. And when she says difficult people, she means the pain in the ass, not the work.
Oh,
Not,
yes. I've
she
had
can handle the work.
I had a few where I had to literally walk them out the door because I was like, I'm not doing your brows today.
That's crazy.
Ever. But yeah, you have to know, no matter what career you're in, there will be competition. There will be somebody else, but they don't have the same craft. I say they can have the same recipe, but it will never be the same because it's my hands that's making that brow.
Mhm.
So it will never be the same. And if the client chose them, it's okay. I'll get a better one that's going to pay me more.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you choose Jova? Jova, how can people find you? What's your website, socials, and all that?
So I have my website is www.nabb for New Age Beauty Bar. So it's nabbsalonandacademy.com. Or they can find me on Instagram, New Age Beauty Bar, same Facebook, New Age Beauty Bar.
And you do trainings as well, right? So if anybody, and I'll say this on camera, Jove is an incredible PMU artist and trainer. I highly recommend her. Anybody listening to this, if you're thinking about it, if you're in the Utah area, you're doing your research and you're listening to this episode, go to her. She'll take care of it. And your package is here. Perfect timing.
I'm
I'm going to end the recording.
Thank you.